Greetings, my friends, and welcome to a tactics video where we talk about tournament game analysis. And this is the game I played against World Eaters in the recent GT. I went over my list on the channel maybe like 2 weeks ago now, so if you want to follow that video, you can watch it. Obviously, these are the units you're going to see, and I'm going to make some tweaks to the list to hopefully improve it in the future. But this was what I was playing, and I beat World Eaters in Game 2, putting me 2 wins and 0 losses, and this was a 92 to 61 point victory. Right. So here is the World Eaters list. It was Angron, a Lord on a Juggernaut, a Master of Executions, 10 Jackals, 10 Berserkers, 200 points for 10 Berserkers. I was going to say, I feel like that's a lot, considering the foot slog. A Rhino, obviously the 10 Berserkers and the Master Executioner would be inside the Rhino. We have 3 8-bound, another 3 8-bound, 3 Exalted 8-bound, the Lord of Skulls himself, and then a Skull Cannon. So everything is in part of the World Eaters detachment, but the Skull Cannon will be an allied demon unit. Now, my experience of having played against World Eaters in 9th edition and a little bit in 10th edition is they do an absolute ton of damage in melee. You can't really fight them as Blood Angels in melee. If you fight them in melee, you're probably going to lose. I'm going to obviously respawn, and he's horrific. He'll kill anything he charges. The Lord of Skulls has a crazy amount of damage from his cannon, and his cleaver is insane as well, and he's going to be really difficult to take down because I believe he's toughness 13 and has like 20 wounds. 8-bound are very fast because they get the pre-game scout move. They can get advance and charge. They can get 2 inches of extra movement. And then the Exalted 8-bound are very, very deadly. The 8-bound will kill 2 Wound Marines like they're going out of fashion. So everything in this list is fast and killy, and expect this list to come straight at you. I don't know if there's a lot of tactics here. Just expect this list to be on you, wanting to melee you as soon as possible, and they're probably going to be able to make some turn 1 charges if you deploy in your front line. And guess what I did? I deployed right on my front line because I am an idiot and haven't played World Eaters in a little while. So these 2 deployment zones, 24 inches apart, a line going like this. There's 4 objectives in no man's land, and we're playing priority targets, so whatever you hold at the end of the game is going to score you points as well, on top of your normal 5-10 primary scoring. So he lined up like this, and there wasn't going to be that many great firing arcs. Maybe it can swing out round here, gets a couple of shots at the Rhino, at the 8-bound, at Angron, and it can swing out here maybe. My plan was to maybe put my library in here, and my other Dreadnought down here as well, and I kind of hoped that if I had some units down here, I would be able to cover like 3 or 4 objectives, and 3 or 4 objectives. Like if my other Dreadnought's here, he's going to be able to see like 3 objectives, maybe even 4 objectives if he can shoot from here all the way down here. So basically, I was looking for firing arcs. And I was also wanting to be obscured from the main cannon on this thing because I was a little bit scared of it. I forgot that there's got 2 cannons and one of them's only 18 inches, so I didn't need to worry about that too much in turn 1. But I did know that the firepower coming out from Lord of Skulls was pretty crazy. But and I want to give a shout out to my opponent Ed. I played in this game. I made a new friend in this game. His name was Ed, and he was awesome. I think I actually put him down as one of the 2 that I picked for best sportsmanship. I really enjoyed my game here. So I spread out some units with the hope of putting these heavy intercessors on this objective. Maybe the Death Company were going to push up here with the ability to threaten on 2 objectives. The tanks were going to try and find some fire lines, and the aggressors are staying very safe behind here. I'll teleport them as and where I need them. I just don't want to give him any opportunity to get a turn 1 charge off on the aggressors. But guess what? He did get a turn 1 charge off on the Death Company. He managed to get, I guess, these 8-bound, scout move, regular move. He got 2 inches extra. He got advance and charge in turn 1 because he rolled this corn thing, and he was on the Death Company. I think I lost 3 or 4 of my Death Company in turn 1. They did mop up the whole squad of 8-bound afterwards. Because my librarian here as well, but I guess the Death Company essentially were a meat shield for the librarian. That was probably important. But he also had another unit, these Exalted 8-bound, and the other 8-bound run like all Billio across, and here was a unit of 8-bound. Like if we go back 1 turn, basically they were on my repulsor in turn 1, and you'll notice that repulsor is down to 2 wounds when we get to turn 2, but you will also notice Angron's gone. Angron came flying forward, and obviously he's got to go around terrain, so he ended his move just here on this corner, and he tried to multi-charge both tanks. If he'd picked just the closest one, he would have made the charge, but because he picked both, he failed. And then with the reroll, he failed as well. It meant Angron was sitting right here. My aggressors were able to just advance right over the wall with Assault Doctrine, not Assault Doctrine, Devastator Doctrine, and then just gun him down using Storm of Fire. So we killed Angron turn 1, and honestly, that failed charge probably made a bit of a difference, because it just meant that my repulsor only had 2 wounds left, and I think the Vindicator that was up here only had 6 wounds left, so if Angron had got in, he could have possibly killed both. And while I would have gunned him down, that would have probably hurt me quite a lot, because these 2 units survive for multiple turns after this and do a bit of damage. So in turn 2, I mopped up the 8-bound coming in here, I mopped out 8-bound coming in here, the aggressors mopped up Angron, and then his Rhino full of Berserkers, he decided, and I think it was a good play, he decided he was going to go after the aggressors. He's going to disembark from the Rhino, move, try and get in on those aggressors. And I think that was the right call, but the Overwatch from the aggressors picked up like half the squad of Berserkers. Aggressors are just so darn good at the moment. And the 8-bound led by the Juggernaut, I believe they did get a bit further forward, but I mopped them up. And I guess because Angron's so fast, I'd and I guess kind of the way it deployed as well, I made it a priority to make sure we got rid of Angron. Because I was thinking, Angron's so fast, he can move around, he can kill anything he gets in combat with. While Lord of Skulls will kill a lot of stuff that he gets in combat with. Well, he'll kill anything he gets in combat as well, but he's slower. And yes, he has a really nasty cannon, and as this game goes on and he gets to fire that cannon more and more, I was really second guessing if it was the right idea to kill Angron, because Angron obviously can respawn, and he did respawn later in this game. So I was really, when Angron respawned, I was like, shit, should I have really killed the Lord of Skulls first? But I think Angron's too big a threat. Left unchecked, he'll kill everything in my list. He'll move from target to target. He's a 14-inch move. He can get advance and charge. He can get 2 inches extra movement based on the dice that they roll at the start of the turn. So basically, like, he can have about a 30-inch threat range. So he can just be everywhere, and he gets so many attacks, and he hits on 2s, and they're all d6 plus 2. It's ridiculous. I think he's strength 17 as well. So yeah. So the one thing to be said is, while we kill Angron in turn 1 and we kill 2 units of 8-bound, there's 1 unit of 8-bound left here. Or one 8-bound left from the 2 units. And then once we kill the Exalted 8-bound, he's actually kind of hurting. Because we have actually killed, well, I killed all the Berserkers as well in this next turn. So he's actually really hurting. The Jackals in his backfield, I dropped my Inceptors at the start of turn 3 right on the edge of the board. So like 12 inches from the Jackals, to try and make it that he would have to come off that objective and go after the Inceptors. The Inceptors gunned down a ton of them. I want to say they killed like 7 Jackals. And I put my little squad of henchmen up here as well. So the idea was that, like, he only has 3 or 4 Jackals now. They're never going to have enough shooting power to kill the henchmen. They would have to charge the Inceptors to kill them, and if they do charge the Inceptors, then they're not on the objective, and the henchmen can steal the objective. So I guess that's the one thing that the Bolter Inceptors did very well here. I could have dropped them much closer, but I thought I'll drop them far away, so they're safe. Jackals only have, like, basically auto pistols, strength 3 or something, no AP, so they're never going to kill the Inceptors with their pistols. So it just basically meant, like, I had a lot of pressure on his backfield he couldn't deal with. Meanwhile, there's nothing left in this Rhino, so I'm just trying to move around here. You can see my other tank, my Repulsor, is still alive, hobbling around here. So we're trying to kill the Rhino, it's down to 5 wounds. Our Heavy Intercessors moved onto this objective, feeling very good about that. I lost everything on this side, so these 2 objectives are pretty open, but it doesn't matter, I'm holding my home field. I'm holding this one. I'm probably holding that one. I think the Repulsor is just touching this as well, so I think I'm like OC 8 on here. And obviously in the next turn, in turn 4, I'm going to hold that one. So primaries was all good. Like, I had no issues on primaries this game. The Lord of Skulls is coming to kill me. and yeah, like I was starting to get worried. I believe he killed like quite a few aggressors with his cannon, and he was going to be charging Librarian Dreadnought, which I was not confident about. But I was like, yeah, I'm okay. If he kills this and he takes this objective, it's not the end of the world. Like, World Eaters are going to kill some of your stuff. Like, they're so fast, they're so fighty, and the Lord of Skulls is, I don't even know his weapon, but I'm sure it's like D6+2 as well, and he's probably got about 8 attacks. So I can't remember exactly what he killed, but like, you can, when I was set up to win this game, I feel like I have units on, 75% of the objectives. I'm able to perform actions, and when we get onto the score sheet in a minute, I'll show you all the different actions that I managed to perform. I did really well with tactical objectives on this map. And as the game ends, you can see, I believe Angron was just sneaking in on the board down in this quadrant. He had Assassinate, so I was trying to run this character down into this corner to just keep him there, because I figure, like, Angron and Lord of Skulls, if they're both here in my deployment zone, that's fine if I control 4 of the other 5 objectives on the map. And that's pretty much how this game played out. So as turn 5 ends, he's stuck down here trying to kill my Gravis Captain. He actually moved next to my Gravis Captain here, and when he moved next to him, I used squad tactics to just move another 6 inches back into the corner to just say, like, if you want to kill the Gravis Captain, you are stuck in this corner, and it was going to score him 5 points. So everything else just moved back to try and get some, like, even that distance there, Angron could probably make that in one turn, because 16... Is it 14 or 6? I think it's 16 comes to about here. So add on 2 inches, add on an advance roll. Like, he could probably make that charge pretty easily. He might even be able to charge that. It's actually kind of insanity how fast he can move. But yeah, so I was just going to hold, and I think I put my few Eradicators that were still left. I think they jumped behind this wall, because I would get very little points to shoot him. What I actually did in the final turn, though, is the Lord of Skulls finally came out and sat here. You can notice this, my little Oath of Moment card on him. When he finally came out in the final turn, I had the Eradicators jump over, I had the Vindicator and the Dreadnought move, and I actually managed to kill him with basically the last roll of the game. I went second, obviously, so I scored at the end as well. And it was a very, very bloody game, and in turn 1 I was very worried, but being able to, like, fall back and shoot and stuff like that, and also the aggressors just did a ton of work. I want to highlight what the aggressors did, but in turn 1 I had in turn 2 I had behind enemy lines, which I was able to do with my Inceptors. In turn 3 I had extend battle lines, which I was able to do for 5, and no prisoners. I was killing them a lot, which I was able to do for 5. And turn 4 I had Skewer No Man's Land, which I did for 5 as well. In turn 6 I had Investigate Signals, and I had units in 2, must have been 3 of the corners. 3 of the corners? I don't know which. Maybe I had a unit down here. Did I have a unit down here just off screen? Oh, yes, sorry. The 2 Death Company that survived from turn 1, they actually, after they survived turn 1, they jumped over here. Or actually, I don't think I jumped them. I teleported them. Because all I had was the Chaplain and 1 Death Company guy left. I teleported them behind this wall. So while I've been telling you all through the game I was on 4 objectives, I was actually on 5, because I was sitting on this one with just 2 Death Company models behind this wall. So I guess in the final turn, they Investigate Signals down in this corner. So I get 6 for Investigate Signals, and I got 6 for Bring It Down. That was killing the Lord of Skulls in that final turn. So tactical objectives worked out really well for me, because it was priority targets. I got 35 for primary plus 15 at the end for holding so many objectives. So 50 for primary, 32 for secondary. I missed secondaries in a couple of turns. I guess that's the risk you're always going to take when you are playing tactical objectives. I don't remember the couple that I threw away, but yeah, so I mean, I guess when you're playing tactical, I guess you've got to be wary that there's probably like 10 points that sometimes on bad card draws, you're just not going to get those 10 points. So if you feel like you're desperately going to need all 100 points when you fight against an opponent, then I guess my thought would be to potentially avoid tactical. But I mean, tactical gives you some other CP, and it's a bit more flexible. And I did play fixed in 1 game in this tournament, and we're going to get to that in a very future video. But let's talk about, so tactical was good for this one. Priority targets was a good one as well, and there were so many objectives on the map that I was able to hold. The World Eaters turn 1 are so damn fast and scary, and I guess, like I said, if he'd made that 8-inch charge with Angron, I could have been in a much worse spot. And this does look like quite a lot of distance, right? Like, this is quite far away, but they're able to close that in turn 1 with very, very little difficulty, it felt like. It's been a little while since I played World Eaters, and I was a little bit scared once I saw how quick he was moving across in turn 1. The Aggressors did so much work. They dropped Angron, they dropped the Berserkers, and the Lord Executioner in the first 2 turns. The Aggressors were really an MVP unit from this tournament. The Gladius Detached Force is very, very strong against Khorne, because the thing that's great about it is you can fall back, shoot, and charge. So you can use all weapons in your arsenal, whereas Khorne really only do damage in that one phase, whereas a Blood Angel, I guess now, or a Gladius Angel, as I've been calling them, are able to do damage in 3 different phases. And like I said, I was really second-guessing leaving that Lord of Skulls alive, as it started doing a ton of damage with the cannon. But at the end of the game, it felt like it was the right call, because while he did kill a few things with this Lord of Skulls, I feel like he killed the Librarian Dreadnought, I feel like he killed most of the Aggressors, I feel like he did a bunch of damage into... Well, I guess I'm missing a Vindicator tank there as well, yeah. So he killed probably like 400 points of stuff with Lord of Skulls, so I think I was thinking that that might have been the wrong call, but unless you've got like a ton of firepower, I don't know how you're going to be able to drop both of those. Like I said, the Lord of Skulls is like toughness 13 with 20 wounds, and it's got an invuln. I believe it's a 3-up save, 5-up invuln. So you need an absolute ton of firepower, and your last cannons are only going to wound it on 5s. This list that I've got has a lot of firepower. The 2 Vindicators, the Repulsor, the Ballistas, the Aggressors. But I also had to drop Angron, who's no chump as well. 18 wounds, toughness 10 sort of deal. Maybe he's even toughness 11, toughness 10 or 11, something like that. So overall, this was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I think it felt closer than the 30-point victory that I got at the end. But maybe by the final turn, once you only had a couple of units left, it was kind of a formality. The first 2 turns felt very hairy. And I think the Aggressors really... I think they really lifted me out of there. And also I think the Death Company fighting back, they did really well in their combat as well. So overall, another good win. If you enjoyed the video, leave me a like or a subscription. If you've got any questions about playing World Eaters that I learned, or maybe even you've got something you wanted to share with me that I missed in my game, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I got a few more videos like this coming out against some other armies, and giving you my thoughts and opinions on the games. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, support me via the join button down below. By the blood are we made strong, brothers.